U.S. President-elect Trump has met President Obama in the White House to discuss January's handover of power. Obama said the two had an excellent conversation. And President Park Geun-hye and President-elect Trump reaffirmed the two allies' watertight security and defense alliance against North Korean threats. Plus, prosecutors raid the house of a former presidential aide over links to the Choi Soon-sil scandal. They also seek to question some of Korea's most powerful business leaders who met with President Park. These stories and more coming right up. Hello, it's Friday, November 11th here in Seoul. Welcome to our newscast. I'm Hwang Ji-hye. President Park Geun-hye spoke with U.S. President-elect Donald Trump on the phone on Thursday, reaffirming their country's strong ties. The next American president pledged to be with South Korea 100%, and he vowed that the U.S. will protect its Asian ally against an unpredictable North Korea. Song Ji-sun starts us off.
President Park Geun-hye and U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's first conversation on the phone took place in a friendly atmosphere using easy words. The phone conversation, which lasted about 10 minutes, was made less than 24 hours since Trump's victory. Saying that the ROK-U.S. alliance has contributed to building peace and prosperity in the Asia-Pacific region, President Park expressed hope for a stronger alliance and for the U.S. to exert a stronger leadership in making a peaceful and prosperous world. She also highlighted the need for close coordination between Seoul and Washington to deter possible North Korean provocations, noting that Pyongyang has had a tendency of carrying out such actions during the transition period between administrations in the U.S. Stressing that the allies will all be safe together, Trump said he agrees 100% with President Park and that the U.S. is going to be with South Korea 100% all the way, unwavering.
President Park says she looks forward to further strengthen and develop the ROK-U.S. alliance in various areas of common interest in the future. President-elect Trump said that the U.S. is with Korea 100%, and that it will be steadfast and strong in protecting South Korea against the instability in North Korea.
Park and Trump also said they look forward to meeting each other soon in the future. Over the next month before Trump takes the Oval Office, President Park will seek to convey Seoul's stance and its strategies through various diplomatic channels in order to have them reflected in the new U.S. administration's policy directions. Song Ji-sun, Arirang News.
And the South Korean government has revealed that it was staying in close contact with Donald Trump's team over the past few months. Seoul has also expressed confidence that bilateral ties won't be affected by the incoming administration. One of Trump's advisors says the two countries can build an even stronger relationship in the coming years. Kwon So-ah tells us more.
South Korea appears ready for another chapter of renewed Seoul-Washington relations. Seoul's foreign ministry says it has undertaken thorough preparations for the new U.S. leadership and will concentrate on continuing the allies' cooperation on dealing with North Korea.
The government hopes to be a part of the multilateral effort to put North Korea on the path to denuclearization by maintaining and developing the current focus on sanctions and pressure, and we will work with the new U.S. administration, beginning with the transition phase.
Ministry officials have been emphasizing Donald Trump's remarks that North Korea's nuclear program has the potential to become a global catastrophe. To jumpstart discussions on the subject, the Foreign Ministry plans to send its Special Representative for Korean Peninsula Peace and Security Affairs Kim Hong-kyun to the U.S. as soon as possible to meet with the U.S. President-elect's key diplomacy and security representatives. The ministry expressed the hope that the South Korea-U.S. pressure on North Korea would increase, which would also lead to greater pressure on China to take a bigger role in denuclearizing North Korea. Still, there are lingering concerns in South Korea as Trump has said on several occasions that he could withdraw U.S. troops from the peninsula. But according to an official on Thursday, the special measurement agreement on the sharing of the financial burden of the U.S. troop presence is due to run through 2018. And for such an agreement to be cancelled, it needs to be approved by both sides. In what appeared to be an attempt to alleviate some of South Korea's concerns, one of Trump's foreign policy advisors, Pete Hoekstra, said Trump believes the South Korea-U.S. friendship is and will remain important as the two sides enjoy strong national security and economic ties. He said Trump will, quote, build on that relationship to grow our economies to the benefit of both countries and coordinate on national security issues to handle regional threats. Kwon So-ah, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has met with President Obama to discuss a smooth transition of power. It was the first time the two men have met ever face-to-face. Sitting down at the White House on Thursday, Obama promised to do everything we can to help his successors succeed. Let's take a look.
I believe that it is important for all of us, regardless of party, and regardless of political preferences, to now come together, work together, to deal with the many challenges that we face.
Emerging from the 90-minute meeting, Obama told reporters the meeting was excellent and wide-ranging. Trump called Obama a very good man and said it was an honor to meet with him.
I very much look forward to dealing with the president in the future, including counsel. He explained some of the difficulties, some of the high-flying assets, and some of the really great things that have been achieved.
Trump also said the meeting was only supposed to last 10 to 15 minutes, but went much longer than that. The president-elect said the two discussed a lot of different situations, some wonderful and some difficult, but he stopped short of elaborating on what those situations were. Trump is expected to strip away a number of the Obama administration's initiatives, including the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, and the Iranian nuclear deal. After the White House, Trump also made a stop in Congress with his Vice President-elect Mike Pence and House Speaker Paul Ryan. And after a series of congratulatory messages to Donald Trump on his election victory, French President François Hollande has laid out his concerns. He called on Europe to overcome the challenges it faces in light of the U.S. election result. Hollande added that Europe will have to define with the new American administration the relationships between Europe and the United States, saying that is the shared mindset of all EU member states. He made the remarks after meeting with the Danish Prime Minister in Paris. Hollande said the EU is an ally of the U.S., but added that the 28-nation bloc is able to act independently for its own interests and those of the world. Meanwhile, separately, in a letter to the U.S. President-elect, Hollande proposed holding discussions as soon as possible.
On our victory.
The market turmoil seen right after Donald Trump's victory was short-lived, with major Asian markets rebounding sharply on Thursday. But there could be further volatility down the line given the uncertainties regarding the campaign pledge of President-elect Trump. Kim Min-ji reports.
Korean stocks rebounded on Thursday after the shock of Republican Donald Trump's presidential victory had sent markets into a tailspin the day before. Seoul's benchmark Kospi closed up 2.26%, while the tech-heavy Kosdaq added over 3.9%. Korea's main index plunged 2.25% on Wednesday, while the secondary bourse shed about 4%, amid the growing uncertainties about the impact that a Trump victory could have on the financial markets and the global economy. On Thursday, markets across Asia also recouped many of their losses. Japan's Nikkei, which had sunk more than 5% Wednesday, gained 6.7% Thursday, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng added nearly 2%.
Today's retrack of FX move and equity gains are due to Trump's softening of rhetoric at his acceptance speech. However, I expect it to be only a short-lived recovery. The extent of how far he will carry out his campaign promises is not yet known, but the fact that he has taken a protectionist and isolationist stance during the campaign is already an unpredictable factor for the market volatility increase.
The rebound in Asia followed gains on Wall Street, with U.S. shares bouncing back on Wednesday after major sell-offs overnight. Investors seem reassured by Trump's key policy priorities, which include generous tax cuts and greater spending on infrastructure and defense.
President-elect Trump is actually sounding very conciliatory toward the other side, also emphasizing the need for us to work in a unified fashion. I think that's sending a positive message to those on Wall Street.
However, given the absence of the new president-elect's experience in politics or policymaking, experts say it may be too early to call it a recovery, saying the lingering uncertainties could trigger further market volatility down the road. Kim Min-ji, Arirang News.
Prosecutors have raided the home of former Presidential Secretary for Civil Affairs Woo Byung-woo on suspicion of dereliction of duty. They've also sought an arrest warrant for a music video director who's believed to have helped Choi Soon-sil, the woman at the heart of the power abuse scandal. Kim Jung-soo reports.
Seoul prosecutors on Thursday raided the home of former Presidential Senior Secretary for Civil Affairs Woo Byung-woo on suspicion of dereliction of duty for failing to prevent Choi Soon-sil from exerting influence over Cheongwade. Woo had been summoned last Sunday for an intense 15-hour interrogation and was released early Monday, but that's for unrelated charges of embezzlement and abuse of authority. Also on Thursday, prosecutors announced that they will seek an arrest warrant for advertisement and music video director Cha Eun-taek, who was summoned Wednesday for a second round of questioning. Cha is believed to be a friend of Choi Soon-sil and is also suspected of having played an important role in the establishment and management of the Byul Foundation, to which Choi allegedly forced some of Korea's leading conglomerates to donate. Meanwhile, it appears prosecutors have found even more links between Choi and President Park. The head of the Seoul Central District Prosecutor's Office found evidence on Thursday that former Secretary for Public Relations Planning An Bong-geun and former Secretary for Administrative Affairs Lee Jae-man had helped Choi Soon-sil, a private citizen with no security clearance, access presidential office documents. The news comes just a day after prosecutors raided the homes of the two aides, who had resigned from their positions at the end of last month. Together with President Park's personal secretary Chung Ho-sun, the three former aides had served Park for more than 2 decades and were called by Cheongwade insiders the three doorknobs. According to the prosecutor's office, Lee Young-ryul, the chief investigator on the Choi Soon-sil case, had secured testimony from a witness saying An and Lee had attended the meetings organized by Choi at a secret residence in Seoul's Nonyeon-dong neighborhood, while Secretary Chung supplied them with presidential documents and reports. An is also suspected of giving a, quote, free pass to Choi, allowing her to access Cheongwade while bypassing its security protocols. Kim Jung-soo, Arirang News.
And as the investigation into the scandal gripping Korea expands, prosecutors are set to grill business leaders known to have held private one-on-one discussions with President Park Geun-hye. Kim Hae-sung tells us more.
Prosecutors are planning to question 7 leaders of the nation's major conglomerates who held closed-door talks with President Park Geun-hye last July. Prosecutors said Thursday that the details of the conversations they had at the meetings held between July 24th and 25th last year will be crucial in determining whether the president is involved in fundraising for 2 government-linked foundations controlled by our confidant Choi Soon-sil. The 7 CEOs include Samsung's Lee Jae-yong, Hyundai Motors' Chung Mong-gu, and LG Group's Koo Bon-moo. On July 24, 2015, President Park held a meeting with 17 CEOs at the presidential office of Cheongwade and said she would like the companies to help support an organization that would help spread Korean culture. The president is known to have held closed-door talks with some of the CEOs that afternoon and on the next day, and prosecutors are seeking to determine whether she pressured them to donate to the foundations.
To get to the bottom of the Choi Soon-sil scandal and meet the demands of public outcry, prosecutors need to thoroughly investigate into how Korean conglomerates were involved in this business-government collusion, so questioning all the CEOs is crucial.
53 companies are known to have donated $70 million to two foundations, Miru and K-Sports, and Choi is suspected of using her close ties to the president to force them to contribute money. Prosecutors have already questioned executives from Samsung Hyundai Motors SK Group over the past several days, as well as several others, as to whether they were pressured into making donations and by whom. Kim Hae-sung, Arirang News.
And that wraps it up for now. Thank you for watching. I'm Hwang Jie, and I'll be back in less than 2 hours for more news updates. So do stay tuned for that, and goodbye for now.